In this tutorial, we will be discussing cell membranes. The cell membrane separates cellular content from the external environment. It consists of a lipid bilayer made of two rows of phospholipids. Remember, those are the ones that had the polar end, the polar head, with the phosphate and the nitrogen base, nitrogen alcohol, and then the nonpolar tails that consisted of the fatty acids. They have an inner portion that is made of nonpolar tails of phospholipids with a polar head at the outer inner surfaces. The fluid mosaic model of a cell membrane, protein and cholesterol are embedded in the lipid bilayer of the phospholipids. So here's the cholesterol, here's the proteins. The bilayer forms a membrane-type barrier with polar heads of the membrane surfaces. So on top here, this green area are the polar heads. Those are the things that are attracted to the water. Those can actually interact with the water because of the fact that it's polar. The nonpolar tails are in the middle. They're pointing inward, away from the water. The lipid bilayer contains proteins, carbohydrates, and cholesterol. It has unsaturated fatty acids that make cell membranes fluid-like rather than rigid. Has proteins and carbohydrates on the surface that communicate with hormones and neurotransmitters. There are three different ways in which things can move through the membrane. The first one is diffusion, which is right here. Essentially what's going to happen is if you have an area of high concentration, it's going to move to the area of lower concentration. The other way is facilitated transport. The facilitated transport uses protein channels to increase the rate. So you're still going from a higher concentration to a lower concentration. However, this here is just making it occur faster. And finally, we have active transport. Active transport is, even though it's lower concentration and it's higher concentration here, it's still going to move it through whether it wants to or not. So the transport of particles across the cell membrane from high concentration to low concentration is called diffusion. Facilitated transport is when it goes faster. Active transport is when it doesn't want to go at all and it's being forced to go. And that's your overview of the cell membrane.